Okay. And my next guest is Dave Breslow, and Dave is here in the studio with us. Dave, can you please tell us a little bit about your writing experience?
Sure. My first book I wrote was actually a golf book, because at the time a lot of my clients were athletes, pro and amateur athletes. So I wrote a book called Wired to Win, The Mental Keys to Play Your Best Golf. And since then, a lot of my work has gone toward the personal development arena. So I have a book out there that's, right now it's in ebook form, and it's called 7 Laws, 21 Days, Transform the Way You Live, Work, and Play. And I also am creating 2 new ebooks that are available. Well, the notice of them is available on the website now. And one of them is called From Website to Web Sales in 36 Hours. And the other one is How to Make Money Want You as Much as You Want It. Because I find these two to be really interesting topics for a lot of people who don't know really how to get started when it comes to writing their books. And it's very overwhelming, the information out there, and I know we're going to talk about a lot of that today. But that's how it started for me. I was never a writer until later in my life, but I woke up one day and I realized I really like to write. And I just went to my computer and started kind of writing without any editing or anything. And before I know it, I had about 200 and some odd pages on the computer.
Well, what is your background, Dave?
Well, my background is really mostly in coaching. I've spent most of my life as a personal development coach or peak performance coach and a trainer. So all of my work has really been involved around helping people get what they want and utilizing some insights and strategies that are kind of not conventional, I suppose. I was never a big fan of a lot of the traditional tips and strategies that are out there. So everything I did was often a little bit of a different conversation, but it gets results, so people are really responding to it.
And you also were an actor, or are an actor.
Yes, I still am an actor, and I was an actor in Chicago, and I'm in Las Vegas right now, and in fact, I shot a little video for Chipotle just last week, and I've only been here about 2 weeks, but it's like anything else. It's like what we're going to talk about. It's getting in there and making the contacts
and making it happen.
Yes, you just have to make things happen, and I didn't know a soul in this town when I got here. Well, yeah, it does involve my experience, because even though I may be writing to golfers who actually play better golf than I do, it doesn't really matter, because what I'm writing about is the human condition, essentially, as probably everybody really is. But I happen to be couching it in terms of peak performance on the golf course, if that's what the book is. The other books are about life and peak potential in life. So yes, it's all about the human condition, and I've certainly had my own ups and downs, and that's part of the story. And beyond that, it's really a matter of writing. I heard somebody say a really great thing a few years ago. They said, don't tell me, show me. Because the first few manuscripts that I wrote were very much full of telling people, and they were very dry. I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. And somebody looked at it and said, well, where's the glamour in all of this, or where's the story in all of this? So I wasn't really showing people, I was just telling them, and it was way too dry. And it's something you learn over time, and that's that you add your experience into that, and the storytelling becomes really terrific.
We're going to talk a little bit about the ebooks, and the biggest mistake most ebook authors make is that they don't clearly define, identify, and visualize who they are selling their ebook to. On the web, to be successful, you must write a specific group of people who have specific interest. Make sure that you know exactly who is going to buy your ebook and where you can find them online. And does anyone on the panel have an experience with this?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to go back to the golf book again, even though that was a while ago for me. What I had to do with that was I contacted the Golf Channel, which, if you're a golfer, is pretty much like if you're an eater, the Food Channel is the thing to watch. If you're a golfer, the Golf Channel is what you watch, and it had a lot of viewers. So what I did was I called them and I said, I'd like to write some articles for you. Gratis, of course, no charge. And would you put my articles up once a week on the website? And they said yes, after checking me out, of course. And I ended up writing articles once a week, submitting to the Golf Channel. And I knew I was reaching the exact audience I needed to reach for that particular book, because I had made that mistake with other books, thinking, hey, this is about peak performance and living life, and I thought it was for everybody. And even though you think that, you still have to target a particular group. and that's the way the book is going to sell. And I got to sell thousands of books just because I was involved with the Golf Channel.
Automate everything you can. Credit card processing, ebook delivery, as much technical support as possible to keep your ebook publishing and sales costs to a minimum. If you can't automate a function, delegate it to someone else. And I know Dave has experience with this because you have a lesson out there on your ebook. How is that handled on your project?
Well, it was a huge frustration for me for several years because I discovered that while IT people are very knowledgeable and intelligent, they don't exactly communicate all that well. And I was frustrated time after time after time with talking to IT people about how to set up a website, how to get an autoresponder, how to set up an opt-in page and get people to give them your first name and your email address, and then pay now buttons, and getting with PayPal and everything on the computer. I'm going to sound like I'm Donald Trump, although I'm really not. But no, I'm not. But it's just funny to me now because I've done so much now, and I understand so much more than I used to, that I run across people all the time that are getting stuck at the very basic level of just even though they know how to turn the computer on, but after that, it's a little bit of a problem. They don't know how to set up any pages. They don't know how to set up anything for consistent communication with people. And that's why I wanted to write that ebook, because I thought it was really important, because I don't talk like an IT person and I don't write like an IT person.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, really. And people just want it straight. And I just had such a hard time getting it straight from these people because they like talking to other IT people. They don't know what it's like to talk to people like us.
Go ahead, Dave.
Well, I was just going to say, and for me, it's less practical, I suppose. I just kind of count on my intuition, where I'm just doing something one day and a title just pops up. If I try to think about it too much, I come up with this stuff that just sounds ridiculous, and then I just put it away. And often for me, if I'm driving or if I'm doing something and not even paying attention to it, I just get this little hit inside, I guess, or this little voice, and a title just starts to appear, and I put it down on paper, and I keep looking at it, and I go, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's good. And I just tuck it away until the next day, and when I look at it, if I have the same reaction, that's usually what I go with.
Now, Dave just recently had a great experience. As a matter of fact, his mother also wrote a book.
Oh, yeah.
And you want to share that experience?
Well, it's interesting because she wrote this book in the early 90s, and she has the complete rights to it now. It was done with a publishing company that did about as little as they could. So she basically got nothing from it. And I said to her, why don't you add a new chapter? Which she did. It's her story. It's called Who Said So, which is a pretty great title. And it chronicles her journey of being diagnosed with MS back in the late 60s and her 12-year journey to complete recovery, which is a pretty unusual story. And it's a story that really needs to be out there and told. And so I asked her to add a final chapter to the original, something more like my life 50 years later and all the things I've learned and so on and so forth. So she did, and we came up with a new cover. And it's something that I have not spent a lot of time yet on promoting.
But you ran into someone. Where were you?
Oh, yes, I was volunteering at the Las Vegas Film Festival, and Leah Thompson from Back to the Future fame, and she played a character from age 17 to age 40 throughout the Back to the Future.
Caroline in the City.
And Caroline in the City, yes. So I had a pass that allowed me to go anywhere in the festival, and she was having a news conference, and I had the book because the more I saw her, the more I realized that she was actually perfect to play the role of my mother if somebody actually wanted to make a screenplay out of this, which is what I was hoping somebody would do. So she was done with the press conference, and I came up to her and I handed her the book, and I told her what it was, and I told her I thought she'd be great if she thought it would make a good screenplay. She asked me if my contact information was in there, and we pretty much, said hello and shook hands and got a photo taken, and waiting to see what's going to happen. I'm hoping she does want to follow through on it. That would be terrific. But was it JT?
Yes, JT.
To JT's point earlier, you made a great point that you have no idea who you're going to run into.
Yeah.
I had no idea that I was going to run into Leah Thompson there, and I had no idea in other places. The more you show up, the people you come in contact with, there's no way you can guess ahead of time who that's going to be. So you always want to be prepared with cards or with copies of your book or whatever you have that you can hand somebody and not be just like everybody else who sticks books who sticks books in people's hands. That's me getting excited. Who sticks books in people's hands because they get that a lot. You want to be real. You want to be memorable. And usually people remember people who are just themselves. And that's an issue sometimes when people come up and they think they have to be somebody they're not. And people really don't like that.
Mm-hmm. One of the things we have to mention a little bit is how do you guys think ebooks are relating now to the bookstores? Do you feel like the bookstores are going to the wayside, or do they still have a benefit?
Well, for me personally, I just want to make a quick point if
Sure.
I can. I know we're running close to time. And it's what Roger was talking about before really caused me to think about a very important word. And Roger said it about 5 or 6 times while he was talking about the website, and the word is author. And a lot of people don't see themselves as being authors yet. And if you think of yourself as an author, the idea of doing many of the things that we're now talking about gets a little easier.
Yeah.
And I know as an actor, it took me 3 or 4 theater productions before I actually thought I was an actor. I actually had a director saying to me, I came up to her once, I was doing Christmas Carol, and I was playing Ghost of Christmas Past, and I had a violin. And I walked up to her and said, what do you want me to do with the violin when I'm done with it in the scene? And she looks at me and she goes, I don't know what to do with it. You're the actor. Figure it out. And I swear to this day, I know she did it on purpose because she knew I needed that kick in the butt.
Yeah.
And because she's not a mean person, but she did that specifically for me. And that was the first time I actually thought of myself as an actor.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yeah.
And everything changed after that. So as an author, hugely, hugely important to get that mindset straight. You are an author. You're writing things. You're producing them, ebooks, regular book, publisher, non-publisher, doesn't really matter.